So kia ora, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa, and welcome to the second session of what promises to be 31 days of great online professional learning. This is our second session today. This is our first day launching Connected Educator Month here in New Zealand and then around the world, and I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you who are here in the room today. And we'll do some introductions in a moment, and if you've just joined us, do share who you are and where you're from in the chat. But this session is going to be short and sweet, a quick taster of one of the central resources that will run right through Connected Educator Month, the Starter Kete, and really just to give people a bit of a taster of what it's all about and encourage you to share it with colleagues and friends. But without further ado, to settle us in, I'd like to hand over to my colleague Phoebe up there in beautiful sunny Kawakawa, who is co-hosting with me this morning, and I'd like her to settle us in, please, if you would, Phoebe, with a karakia for the morning. Thank you.
Tēnā tātou katoa, e hui hui mai nei I roto I tēnei runga nei rā. E karakia te matanga, kia hora, te māremu, kia papa, hauna me te moana, hei huarahi mata. I te rangi nei, toka atu, aroha atu, tātou kia, hui e tākia. Tēnā koutou katoa. Welcome and greetings.
Kia ora, Phoebe. Thank you for that lovely session there. Can I just ask everybody in the room to, just as a first protocol, is can you all just look at the little icon at the top of your screen, the little green microphone, and make sure that it has a line through it. So can we all have our microphones to mute? It should look like this. I'm pointing to an example on the slide. So your microphone should have a line through it. The reason I'm asking you to do that is otherwise we get a kind of an echo in the room like we just had a minute ago. So if we can turn off our microphones or have them to mute, please. Otherwise, not only does it get an echo, but we can hear what you're doing if you're typing or talking. So there's a few people's names whose microphones I can see are still on. So if you could mute your mic, I would be very appreciative. Thank you very much. And thank you for settling us in there, Phoebe. And just for those of you who have not worked in an online space before like this, as well as having our mics to mute, a couple of other pieces of housekeeping. There is a wee button towards the top of your screen. It looks like a little person with their hand up. Feel free to use the icons there. You can show a paki-paki. You can show that you're laughing. You can use it to put your hand up if you want to ask a question. So do use the little icon at the top to draw our attention to anything, and we'll keep an eye on that list as well. And please, we invite you to use the middle column of the room, the chat box, for you to record questions, comments. Just type in the box at the bottom and press return. And we can use that to keep a dialogue going in the room as well. A couple of other things just to notice in terms of access to this session. This session, like all of our sessions, will be recorded and archived on the Connected Educator website. We also have colleagues in the room who are capturing key points of each session in a shared doc. And if you're doing that, if you can share the link, that would be great. But it's also, we're also live tweeting them out on Twitter, tagged to CENZ14. And just a last point, that if you take part in as a presenter in a Connected Educator session, or if you're using this as part of your professional learning, that there are a range of digital badges that you can claim during the month. Tara will talk more about that in a moment. And at the end of the session, we'd invite you just to complete a quick 1-minute evaluation form and just remind people to sign up for news on the website so you don't miss a thing through the next 30 days. So hopefully that will just clarify a few points in terms of how we're just going to work this morning. So kia ora, I'm Karen Malure-Spencer. I'm the lucky person that is helping to drive Connected Educator Month here in New Zealand and connect through with our partners in Victoria, Australia and in the States as well. You can find me on Twitter, and I'm going to be your co-host this morning for the next 20 minutes or so. I'd like to acknowledge in this session N4L, who are responsible for one of the days in the Starter Kete, day 16, and that will make sense to you in a moment, but I'd like to acknowledge their support this morning. And a second acknowledgement before we get into what the Starter Kete actually is that the Starter Kete that we have shared with you on the New Zealand website is an adaptation based on a book written by Cheryl Nussbaum-Beach and Lani Ritter-Hall. They wrote The Connected Educator, Learning and Leading in a Digital Age, and that book was the basis for the original Connected Educator Month a couple of years ago. They've also taken a lot of the content from that and turned it into their own starter kit over in the US, which we have kindly been given permission to adapt for a New Zealand audience. So the resource that we'll be talking about this morning, we have had permission to adapt from overseas as well. And actually, just as a side issue, if you are interested in, or can we just make sure our microphones are on mute, please? I can just hear one or two people just in the background there. If you are interested, I can just hear typing going on. Sorry, I'm just going to ask one more time. Can you all please make sure your microphones are muted or off? Just unless you have your hand up or you're wanting to speak, because we're getting a bit of feedback here. If you are interested in reading The Connected Educator during this month, I'm just putting a link in the chat. Just down in the chat, I've just put a URL in there to the book group that is being run during the month around the Connected Educator. So if you're interested in exploring that book, you can read it and explore it during the month as part of Connected Educator Month as well. Okay, so sitting at the heart of the Starter Kete, and the link is there on the slide for you there, and we'll make sure that the link is shared for you here in the chat as well. But the Starter Kete is designed to be a place where you or possibly a colleague or colleagues that you know could begin to take the first step in learning about the different types of digital technologies that we can use for our professional learning, but also different digital technologies that you can use with your learners. So if you've been curious about blogging or wanted to try Twitter or learn how to create digital stories about yourself and to help your learners to do that, find out about online communities. If you or colleagues that you know are looking to take the first step, then the Starter Kete is for you, and we're encouraging everyone to use Connected Educator Month as really the springboard into challenging ourselves to try one new technology, to have a play, and then to begin to think about, well, how can I harness that as part of my professional learning in school? How can I harness that to help my own learners have agency and control over their learning as well? So if you want to, do go to that link so you've actually got another tab open and have a look at the Starter Kete itself. When you go into the Starter Kete, you'll see that it's actually a Google Doc, which is publicly viewable. And if you go in, you'll see, you've only got to look at the contents list of that starter Kete, and you can see that there's 31 days, 31 little chapters. Each one focuses on a different digital technology. There's usually video explanation. So I'm just going to pause there. I can still hear somebody typing and typing quite loudly. So if you can you just make sure that your microphones are off or on mute, please. Can you please look up to the top of your meeting room where there is a little microphone icon and make sure it's either white or it has a line through it, please, because we can hear somebody typing, which is probably wonderful, typing great stuff, but can we just make sure that, yeah. Otherwise, what I may have to do, and this just sounds awful, is that I might have to just mute the mics that are actually on, just to cut out some of that background noise. Okay, so can I just give everyone one more chance just to mute their microphones, please? I'll just mention Tracy, Simon, Marnell, Deanna, if you could mute your mics, that would be fabulous. Thank you. Okay, cool. So 31 days, little chapters, little tasters, an explanation of what the technology is, examples of how you can use it, activities to try, and a really great opportunity to have a taster of different technologies. I'm just going to see if I can sort out the issue with the sound here. Just want to give a wee example of the kinds of things that you can do. Just again, we've got some, just wanting to see whether we can get rid of some of the background sound. Not quite sure if we can manage that. I might just have sorted it. Okay. So here's a quick example of one particular day. So on day 3, and you don't have to wait till the 3rd of October to try day 3, but I'm sure some of you may want to work all the way through from the 1st to the 31st. But we're really inviting you to cherry pick through. So day 3 is an opportunity to explore Tiho or Twitter, and maybe some of you have just learned a new word there of what Twitter is in Te Reo Māori. And so, for example, day 3, it explains what Twitter is, gives activities and suggestions of who you could follow, and the names we've suggested are people who are really active educators who tweet really useful things around New Zealand, a link to some brief instructions of how you can get started on Twitter, and then an opportunity to recognize that little learning step by earning a digital badge, the Twitter First Flight badge, Rerenga Tuatahi Tiho, and Tara is going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But here's an example of the kinds of digital badges that are available, and these are attached to different activities in the starter Kete. So we're inviting you to dip in, to find the technology that you particularly like to try, to challenge yourself, and then to access evidence and to display evidence that you have taken up that challenge during Connected Educator Month. And what I'd like to do now is to invite Tara just to talk a little bit more about how that badging works, because it's woven through all the activities of the starter Kete. So I'm just going to invite Tara to grab the mic, and Tara, you can see the arrows down at the bottom of the slides, so you can change the slides as you need to. But introducing to you my colleague Tara Fagan, who has got years and years and years of experience in connected education, professional learning. She was probably the first person I knew who had taken part in Connected Educator before I'd even heard of Connected Educator. One of the first people on the ground when the US set it up a couple of years ago. So a real advocate for blended, inclusive, flexible learning. And Tara has been driving the introduction of digital badges that we're weaving right through Connected Educator Month with the Starter Kete at its heart. So over to you, Tara, for a wee introduction around how people can display and share their triumphs of learning in the Starter Kete this month.
Kia ora. Thanks very much. And can I just say how delighted I am we've finally got Connected Educator here in New Zealand. It saves me getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to attend some of the events that are happening in the States. Although in saying that, I probably still will get up and do those, but it's nice to have some in our time zone too. So look, thanks for having me along. I'm really delighted to be able to talk to you about He Tohu Orana, which we're about to release with Core Education and designed specifically for Connected Educator Month. So we've got a wonderful showcase of badges that you can collect to celebrate and showcase your success that you can use. You can collect, and I'll show you how you can do that shortly, but you can earn and show your learning throughout the month of October. You can choose from a range of badges. You've got the option of having them in English or in Te Reo Māori, and selecting the badge that's right for you. There's a range of criteria and they all work through in the starter kit to show you what you need to do to be able to earn them. Once you've collected your badge, you're able to showcase them on any of the options that you like, whether it's the VLN, the Virtual Learning Network, ECE Online, which is the early childhood equivalent of the VLN, your blog, your professional portfolio, wherever you like. It's a chance for you to showcase what you've learnt during the month. Now, there's a range of ways in which you can participate and earn your badges. I've already had a couple of questions from colleagues today wanting to know how they can get their THA badge. Actually, that's one of our badges for our newbie people. If you want that, you need to be new to Twitter during the month of October and be able to sign up for that. However, for those of you that are experienced, there's a range of options in our starter kit where you can earn badges so that you can come through and collect some badges to show how you mentor and lead throughout the Connected Educator Month. And once you collect 3 badges, you're able to get the 2 that are down the bottom, Connected Educators for 2014, which showcases that you're a Connected Educator. And I think that's a badge to be able to be proud of, to show that you've participated in this event, that you've got your badge, that you are a Connected Educator. So how do you earn your badges? Well, you work through the criteria that appear in the starter kit, which I know Karen's put the link in the chat box. Within that, there's a range of tasks to do. So you can see here we're looking at the badge for the blogger event. What it needs to do is means that you've created a blog, you've written and published a blog post, and that you've also left a comment on another educator's blog. Because it's just not only about you sharing, it's about that connecting and making those connections with other educators. So once you've met that criteria, you pop into the link that's within the starter kit, pop through to our Core Education badge backpack, tick that you've met all those requirements, and then you award yourself the badge. And then it's yours to showcase however you like. Amazing collection of badges, beautifully designed, all for us for Connected Educator Month. Kerry, just reading your chat, can this be gained of users who already blog? Well, perhaps not the blogging account. However, Kerry, there are badges there sitting waiting for you to collect. So you might be looking at some of the badges about reflecting, using your blog to reflect on the experience of being part of the Connected Educator Month. You might be presenting, in which case there was a badge there for you to be able to do that, or perhaps mentoring some of the other ones. Now, Core Education has created a badge backpack for our He Tohu Orana. So when you click on the links in the starter kit, you'll be taken through to the badge backpack. You'll need to register for the first time, find the badge that you'd like to earn and be able to award that and display that however you like. It's a really fantastic way of connecting with others, showcasing the connectedness that you've done and starting on showcasing your pathway of learning for your professional portfolio. So really great tool. Look forward to seeing them all displayed everywhere. And for those of you that are new, there's a huge range of badges for you. And for those that are more experienced, find the badges, seek them out and start displaying them for you. And as Karen said, you don't need to work through day by day. You can skip ahead and go to the section that works for you. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Tara, and it's been great just while you were talking through there, looking at some of the comments down through the chat about the value of being able to recognise professional learning in this way. It's quite a new concept, I think, for a lot of people, but it is gaining huge traction around the world. Being able to recognise and show evidence of what is currently seen as informal professional learning, the kind of professional learning that you might be at the moment doing in your own time. And this is one way that people can display the fact that they have taken those extra steps. And I thought that, Kerry, you asked a great question, that the different activities in the starter Kete actually evolve during the month. So the first few days in the starter Kete are very much about trying blogging, trying social networking, having a look at online communities for the first time. But as the starter Kete progresses through towards the second half of the month, there are challenge activities that are really for people to then start to put some of that new learning into action through collaboration, through connecting with others, through making contributions to online communities. So the starter Kete is staged. You can differentiate it for your own learning, but there's challenge right the way through it, regardless of what level you might see yourself at, and the badges recognize that as well. So there are badges for those first steps with a particular technology, but we're also really looking to reward people who have taken leadership in Connected Educator Month, who've reflected on professional learning, presented, mentored other people, absolutely wanting to be as inclusive as possible. Janet, thank you for your question. Can you still work through the Kete after October? Absolutely. Connected Educators are a movement. So the resource and the website, while we're having a massive springboard push around connected learning in October, the website stays up there, the resources stay up there, because what we would love is to see this month as the first step in a much longer journey. We're all still on that professional learning path, so absolutely. Okay. Are there any further questions while you're lucky enough to have Tara here in the room with you? Are there any further questions around the badging? We've certainly, and do share them in the chat or pop your hand up. There's lots of links in the chat for you to explore, and you can link to the badges page from inside the starter Kete. So that's pretty straightforward, linking backward and forward. No further comments? Phoebe, I wonder if I could just invite you to turn your microphone and camera on as well. I just wanted to invite you to just share a couple of thoughts about the starter Kete, particularly in terms of advice for educators across schools, but also in Kura as well. So Phoebe, that's it. Okay.
Kia ora tātou
And I just want
anō.
Kia ora.
It's
Turn
great.
your camera on, Phoebe.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Kia ora
Awesome.
tātou anō. It's great to hear what Tara's been talking about in the badges. I'm really keen on earning the Twitter one, even though I'm not new to Twitter, but those are looking really good. So Te Tiho is fantastic. In terms of working with our kura and kohanga and puna reo, which are other early childhood services, we're really encouraging them to come on, and the starter Kete is the best place to come in terms of having a look what's in there, dipping in and out, starting from your own inquiry. So it's from where you're at, not where you might think you're at or your hoa mahi, your colleague is at, but where you're at. So once you know where you're at and beginning from there, you can share with your other colleagues, the other kaiako, and bringing them into the kete as well would be really wonderful. And I'm encouraging kohanga kura, hona reo to start here, because it's wonderful, because it's got everything in there that you need to know about, and it's step by step for you. So it's helping you. You can tag your learning, you can share, you can come back anytime, night or day. Tara's going to get up at 3 in the morning and listen to the stuff across this at the state. So it's open 24/7. So if you can get up there early in the morning and you want to have somewhere to go and start, and you think you might be looking for other places to go, or come to the Kete, it's a great way to start. Kia ora tātou. Any questions? Yes, and it is a great way to start, Tara, and I think it's the beginning of great things. And as Karen has also said, it's not over in the month of October. It's still up there. We can still go back to it, which often we need to, especially when we're sharing, and it's a really good place to come and share with the whānau as well. They'll love to see that. Kia ora, everybody.
Kia ora, Phoebe, and don't hesitate to keep throwing those questions and comments into the chat as well. Hopefully that starter kete is pretty self-explanatory, and what's been really nice is being able to stand on the shoulders of the authors over in the States, but we've worked through that starter kete to give it a really strong New Zealand flavour, to reference New Zealand online communities, New Zealand educators who are on Twitter, New Zealand curriculum, and the focus that is very particular to the way we can weave digital technologies in for our learners here in New Zealand as well. So just in the final couple of minutes, and if you had any other questions, do throw them in the chat now, but I put the link in there again for you. So do go and have a little explore, a little browse through that starter kete, and we would encourage everyone to share that resource far and wide. It is completely free. It is going to stay on the website for as long as people need it. We are really keen that October is the month when people take that first step, and we are pretty confident that there is something in that starter kete for anybody at any stage of their digital professional learning journey. Whether it's the first little dipping in your toes, or whether people are already swimming confidently and looking for that next challenge. So go for it. If you pick up activities in the starter kete, and if you find it useful, for example, if you just join Twitter, or you start a blog, or you create a reflection of a professional learning activity, or you share a story and the starter kete was your starting point, we would love to hear about it. So we are inviting all of you to share your professional learning visibly. So whether you're in Twitter or Google Plus or Facebook or blogging, add a tag, add a label to that visible learning for us, CENZ14, and by tagging your learning, if you know, oh, I've just learned about Twitter on the starter kete, or here's my first blog post inspired by the starter kete, and you tag it to CENZ, and what that does, it will drop your professional learning into the Connected Educator Month stream of conversation that we are already enjoying this month. So do let us know how you get on. Do on-share, adopt a buddy, adopt a colleague, someone who is just waiting for that little bit of encouragement, waiting for a resource to make it easy. So that's great, and we would really like to see some people accessing the badges. Do let us know if you have any questions about that. Really looking forward to hearing how you're using all those resources as well. So really just a final Q&A. For those of you who've had a look at the starter kete, we'd love to know where your starting point might be. And I'm just going to ask you in the next 30 seconds whether there is anyone in the room here who'd be prepared to throw something into the chat now. if you've had a look at the starter Kete, even just the contents list, is there one thing there that you're going to have a little play with? If so, throw it into the chat. So for example, you might say something like, you know, I'm going to start on day 14, or I'm going to start on day 16 and have a look at the N4L pond, or I'm going to start on day 23 and have a look at online communities. Has anyone had a look at the starter Kete and has already decided what their starting point is going to be? Throw it in the chat now, and I will practice my wait time. Awesome. Brilliant. Keep sharing, guys. That's fantastic. So Sandy, starting from day one, absolutely. 2 or 3 people having a look at pond. So there is a specific focus on day 16 around that. And I know that N4L, who are one of our partners for Connected Educator Month, they're going to be running sessions through the month, and also live streaming a session from ULearn next week about pond as well. Reflection time, day 26. Thank you for that, Sabina. So if you have a blog, Sabina, and you want to share that reflection, then do tag it to CENZ14, have a look at the badges, see if you can be able to display recognition of your own learning as well. Wonderful. More familiar with Twitter and blogging. Thank you, Kerry, for sharing that. And Alicia, thank you very much. Awesome. And this is the kind of commitment that you guys are showing that we would be encouraging everyone to get on board with. People who might be watching this recording afterwards, have a look at the kind of things that are being shared in the chat box here, and consider what your starting point might be. So Jeremy, we would love to hear how that goes. We'd love to hear about that learning focus and how you might weave it in. There's some great examples of digital storytelling, particularly around Māori and Pacifica education and reconnecting with your Tūranga Waiwai, for example, and being able to capture that digitally. Thank you, Krishna, for sharing yours as well. Janet, having a look at the multimedia, and of course there's a multimedia badge that goes with that as well. Hey, look, I can see that the comments are coming in thick and fast still, and that's just wonderful. And I'm excited that you're excited. So that's just great. I'd like to invite Bibi and Tara to just turn on their cameras again, please, and to just to join me as we close up this session this morning. But spread the word. Those of you who are already on social networks, spread the word about this starter Kete, and let's see if we can get the word out that it's that it can be the cornerstone for educators as we go through the next 31 days. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletters. So we've got a regular newsletter going out throughout the month, and there is a global newsletter as well that will keep you in touch with things that are going on right across the world, including New Zealand. The hashtags for labeling the conversations online are there. We have one for New Zealand, CENZ14, there's an Australia one, and the global one as well. So do get on board. We'd love some feedback on this session if you've got a spare minute. So do jump into the link that you can see there on the slide, bit.ly/CEM evaluate, just a half a minute letting us know whether you found this session useful. And a final word, Tara or Phoebe, anything else that you'd like to add before we close with a karakia? Tara, anything else to add? Yes, shake your head. All good? Okay. Phoebe, a final word from you about the starter Kete, and also if you'd like to take us into the final karakia, that would be wonderful, my love.
Kia ora, kia ora. Whare hoka wano's last comment in our first session at the launch was ki te hoi, and that means, you know, keep going, start there paddling and keep going, and that's what we need to do with our starter Kete. O reira, tēnā tātai katoa. I'll close with our closing karakia. Karakia hakamutunga ka whakairia te tapu ka wātea ai te ara, ka tūroki whakataha ai, kia tūroki whakataha ai, hui e tai ki e. Kia ora tātai. Thank you for joining me.
Kia ora. Thank you so much, all of you, and thank you everyone in the room for sharing your thoughts, introducing yourselves, and getting us all